Live. Do you remember the old intro, Dennis, when I used to do my live streams, man?
Man, barely, but it feels so long ago, and it's only been, dude, you've only been doing this for what, 2, 3 years?
Yeah, the podcast portion, yep.
Yeah, so like, but it feels forever ago, just like it feels forever ago when me and Stetson started.
Yeah, man. It's throwback sometimes. Like, I don't know if maybe I should or maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But to look back at the beginning and the early times when I actually used to do live streams, like maybe evaluate my progress.
Listen, you know what's funny is that you're bringing that up. I actually do on a regular basis go back and look at previous episodes of the podcast that Stetson and I did for a couple of reasons. One is it helps me to, like, when I watch back at those like old shows, it helps my brain remember also back of where I was at in life at that specific point, and I can evaluate myself based off today based off what I'm saying versus back then. I.e., like, has my perspective changed, that kind of thing. Like, we talked about keeping the same energy. I think it was on RFK stream when we were talking about our feelings about cable and stuff like that, right? So looking back at that to try to remember where I was back then, but also like you said about the progress, like Best Phone Plans is a totally different show now. Like when our first episode, when we first did it, I didn't have a mic. Like I didn't have the mic that you see me using in like every other episode. Stetson actually ordered that for me. The green screens was an addition that I added. I bought those off Amazon. We didn't have the call-in feature that Stetson set up. How people can call us, we can listen to the voicemails. We didn't have the soundboard. There's a lot of things that have changed from the show, and there's still a lot more things that we want to do. I mean, there's we haven't shared it yet publicly, but this most recent month, like all the money that the show has made, plus like the Patreon money, we set aside to do some investments on some little pet projects on the side that we're going to do to enhance the show. So hopefully it continues to develop and become more, well, professional looking, essentially, is the vibe that I'm trying to go for with it.
We got our first super sticker of the night, Dennis. We got the hippo character spinning around in his chair, arms flung up in the air. Appreciate it, Santiago. Thanks very much, man. Always generous and kind and supporting us. Thank you. I see Kazi in the house. Christopher Gee is here. Steven, Mr. Zero Cool is in the house. We got Blind Tech Adventures just getting in too. Oh, snap. He dropped a mega. Pair character riding a firework. Rocket disappearing away before bursting in the sky. And we got the big bearded dragon here. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bearded Dragon.
I am going to do super chat call-outs, despite the fact you already did. So thank you for your immense generosity, Blind Tech Adventures.
Thanks, Nimmer. Appreciate you. And thanks, Pete. Appreciate you coming by tonight, man. Yeah, you guys are amazing, man. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for being a part of the community. Thanks for being engaged in the content, the discussions in the live. Everybody being civil and supportive. It's incredible. It's a wonderful thing, man. Thank you all.
Hey, Sneed, real quick, on the topic of milestones and the way things have changed, Pete has achieved a sort of milestone, so to speak, on his channel. Pete, do you want to announce it?
Yeah, I hit 100 subs.
Yeah. Nice, Pete. Congrats, man.
And apparently people enjoy my content, be it streaming or scripted. So that's promising.
Yeah, we appreciate the Bearded Dragon perspective, man. All right, so we got a couple of topics tonight, man. Let's stick to the script in terms of topics, and I think we got a couple of good ones. So, all right, officially, what I want to talk about is just drop the video, a little bit about the Ukraine-Russia situation with carriers supporting roaming and calling to and from the countries. And then I want to talk about that, and also T-Mobile kind of giving in, no longer able to use the most reliable 5G branded advertising claim. at the time when it was initially, I guess, presented by AT&T and Verizon, they had an issue, not necessarily with T-Mobile saying the claim, but the testing that was used to prove the claim, they took issue with. So we'll talk about those details. I'm going to explain my position and why I actually agree with it. And there's a couple of comments that were in today's video that I covered on it. Some people, I think, are mistaking availability for reliability. Those are two different metrics. I think I have the two best people with me to maybe throw this back and forth with, because Pete, quite the objective fellow. Dennis, I trust with a lot of the interpretation stuff as well. I think I got the right people with me on the panel. So I think you guys will enjoy that discussion as well. Let's start first. Oh, and then we might get to some Dish stuff. All right, so we'll talk about Dish has been chirping like crazy the last 48 hours. I know, Pete. I know, but we got to do it, bro.
No. I'm groaning about their 911 coverage.
How about AT&T's been busy in the news too. 10 new markets, C-band.
Hey, let's see, man. Let's see if we can get to all this, and then we'll get the pulse of the people as we're kind of go through these things. All right.
Well, let's kick it right off.
All right, let's start things first with the T-Mobile and Verizon supporting those that are calling to Ukraine or roaming in or calling from Ukraine to the U.S. So T-Mobile made a public statement. I saw the tweet from CEO Mike Sievert, and then kind of similar situation with Verizon. It came from the official Verizon Twitter, and then it went to the news page, the news center, and then I saw it from the CEO, and then I think it's the CEO of the consumer group or whatever. So like they all put it out there. Verizon and T-Mobile very similarly are supporting calls to and from and roaming with the Ukraine during the time of conflict here with the situation that's going on there with Russia. Now, it has nothing to do with politics. We're just seeing that they are supporting those people in these circumstances. At the time when I made the video, I didn't see any mention of AT&T when I went sniffing around, but I think AT&T has gone ahead and disclosed that they will be offering very similar
Zachary
provisions.
Threw up a link saying they're going through the 7th and they're waiving all international long distance fees from the U.S. to Ukraine. Though I think the T-Mobile and Verizon announcement said that if you were calling a T-Mobile line in the U.S. to touch base with family, there was something going on there too.
The one thing that varies between the carriers, I would assume, I think T-Mobile's offering their provisions through March 3rd. Verizon's, I think, was March 10th. And what was AT&T? March 7th?
7.
Okay, so those dates may matter to some of you or somehow, some way, should it impact you. Just keep track of those dates.
Though I must say, during COVID in Italy in the before times, T-Mobile offered free calling to Italy to check in on people for a set period of time, and they extended it 2 weeks with 3 days notice prior to the ending.
You know what, Pete? I bet you're right. If you requested it, if you asked T-Mobile, I bet you they'd give you extra time.
Yeah, it's subject to change. They're just putting it out there. We're targeting the 3rd, but through previous experience with them doing this, not personal, thank God, but watching them do it, they have an initial end date, and the end date is subject to be extended with little notice. It would be, of course, be easier if there was native DT coverage in Ukraine, but we'll see.
So here are my thoughts on it. And this is just kind of like the objective of the why it's happening, and then the consumer standpoint of what I wish would happen. I think the carriers doing this was sort of somewhat inevitable, because if they didn't, it would be a PR nightmare. And that's the why they're doing it. It's beneficial to consumers, but it does raise a question of why a feature like this doesn't become somewhat ubiquitously accessible. I mean, the reason I bring this up is because communications has changed from like back in like the 2000s. Everything is data based at this point, especially as we go into VoIP based calling, you know, RCS messaging and so forth. It's all just data. What I would really like to see the carriers do is inevitably just support international communications, period. Just make that as de facto feature on plans.
There is a difficulty with that. The mainly with the cost of doing that. There are mobile phone networks with internationally with voice over IP capabilities, voice over NR, voice over LTE, for example. However, the landline fees, much like Mountain Bell when I was calling long distance to California way back before you were born, still incur a toll charge internationally
You're
due
not wrong.
to, and they could allow this to happen in countries where they can get a pairing agreement with a phone company. And the country has a different dialing code for cell phones, like Japan, where they could do reciprocal free mobile calling. Simply because it's internet traffic, but until there is a way to determine the source and the destination, it would become difficult. Although that being said, regardless, I could probably see T-Mobile to the European sisters do unlimited calling and texting by 2027.
I mean, Pete, you're not wrong about the landline toll fees. Like, I'm aware those are present, but it's not that hard to just say, like, okay, landlines will incur a charge, but cell phones are good. And the reason why I know it's not that hard is because your typical landline provider here in the States, whether that be Comcast, Verizon, whomever, they usually have some like international plan that you can like add on to your landline voice. It's usually like $10 or something. And it basically just states like these are the countries that you can call, like this is the Italian package or whatever the package is. And it says like, hey, if you call cell phones, you're good. It doesn't count against your anytime minutes. And then they give you like a bucket of minutes to use on like landlines, basically. And I feel like the carriers could do something similar, basically along the lines of like, yeah, if it's a cell phone, you're hunky dory. If it's a landline, it's at this rate, or it comes out of your bucket of minutes, whatever the carriers decide to do from a pricing standpoint.
They could do that, but you'll more readily see countries where they divide the mobile phone numbers from the non-mobile phone numbers.
I mean, look, all I'm saying is we were able to do it with Canada and Mexico. I don't see why we couldn't do the same thing in Europe as well.
Well, it's Canada and Mexico with an asterisk. Most unlimited calling between US and Mexico, unless it's a specific plan feature for all of Mexico, you're limited to Mexico's with the North American dialing scheme, which is Mexico City and the Colum suburbs.
Gotcha.
Because once you go with the international number code for Mexico, you're incurring international exchange calling.
I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to see the carriers are doing this, but whenever I see the carriers doing this, it just to me looks like if they wanted to, if the willpower was there, they could probably figure out a way to make that an actual like long-term beneficial feature. I mean, as I mentioned, like tech has changed. Like it's not like it was before, you know.
I'm actually quite disappointed with T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T with the Winter Olympics. Olympics after 2016 without a COVID social distancing protocol. The main telcos allowed free calling to those in the host nation or the host cities. So,
and like, I just want to be clear, Pete. I'm not asking for like free internet. Like, I'm not asking for roaming calling.
Hold up. Back up the truck. Kazi says Verizon charges for Canadian calling? The hell?
Zero
yeah,
Cool
that's not
says
true. They don't charge me.
Yeah, Verizon allows calls to Canada. But Pete,
they
real quick,
charged my aunt a while ago, and it's probably based on plan. They charged her, and it became free when she moved to Altice.
Yeah, but Pete, real quick, just to clarify what I'm saying here, like I'm not asking for when you're internationally roaming, like I'm not asking for like unlimited roaming calling minutes or something. I'm just talking about like if you are in the States, like me, Dennis in the States, if I want to go call family that's in Italy, right? Like I want that to be a thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I pay $60 a year for a landline, a voice over IP service from Phone Power. And I have 1,000 minutes a month to call internationally. I actually took advantage of that when our friend Zero Cool had a Swiss phone number.
Look, that's all I'm saying, man. I'm just saying we live in a world, you know, it comes smaller and smaller every day. It seems asinine to me that we can't get connected in the ways that I feel like we should be connected. I know WhatsApp and stuff exists and those are alternatives, but like realistically speaking, calling is still fundamentally something that's used. Texting is still something that's fundamentally that's used. Like,
so, I have a cousin who used to live in San Sebastian or Saint Sebastian, however they say it in Spain, and he went there with a T-Mobile for Business line for 3 years and kept it at a parent's address. We had unlimited international texting, and we could call each other when he was connected to Wi-Fi without any incurred fees. So, a native roaming internationally can get free domestic calling still.
yeah. Anyway, Sneed, sorry for taking that on a sidetrack. That was just my point I wanted to bring up on the topic.
No, you're good. It's a good discussion point for sure. I think, we can actually treat our mobiles as international mobiles,
And
and feel less tethered and less stuck to our plans. Like, oh, I have a domestic based plan and my carrier is not very international friendly. Like those days, we would like to see that change, that to be the old ways of the carriers and become more international, I mean, our phones are internationally compatible, right? They like have all the band support, iPhones, Galaxies, like it's all there.
heck, my Google phone dialer app gives me the option to add a plus sign to the beginning of a phone number for international calling, so I do not have to start an international dialing exchange with 001. So they are equipped for just calling for me to just call my friend in Paris.
All right, gents, good stuff. You guys want to hit this next story from T-Mobile?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so this one's interesting. All right, so T-Mobile has been assigned to stop advertising most reliable 5G claims. AT&T and Verizon took, I guess, opposition to this, from the initial claims, and T-Mobile initially was trying to like defend it or defend themselves on it, because if you think about it, like that has been the bane of their perception through basically like the 4G LTE era, is they were never able to have the reliability polish that say like AT&T enjoyed, or more so Verizon. Like when everybody says
Let's say
Verizon,
Verizon.
yeah, like in terms of just public perception. So, you know, the recommendations from the National Advertising Review Board asked them to stop all the expressions and implying claims of most reliable 5G network. T-Mobile kind of pushed back on it. Looks like they're withdrawing that push, and they're going to just go ahead and back out. So
Hey,
here,
I'm going to say one thing about this.
okay,
They were correct in Boulder.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, I trust your experience, Pete. So no doubt. The thing here, though, all right, the reason why they wanted them to stop this is the NARB. That's the overseers of this. They said that Umlaut, which is the company that T-Mobile is basing their claim upon, actually didn't test for reliability. They're saying that T-Mobile's application of their data from Umlaut does not indicate reliability. They were indicating availability,
Hmm.
right? So, and this is in my understanding, Pete, to me it's not pretentious. To me it's
No.
very clear. Availability means it's there.
Yep.
Reliability, like as defined here, has to do with the ability to complete a task within a certain time frame or whatever the metric is, right?
Without getting kicked off.
Exactly. Okay, so
By the
me and you
way,
are on the same page, right?
Sneed, real quick, I got to shout out Blind Tech Adventures with
Nimmer.
a $5 super chat saying, for unlimited calling to many countries, take a look at Google Fi's unlimited plan. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Nimmer.
And
Google Fi is the best, bro, for international. He ain't lying.
Kazi says my anecdote also applies to South Florida. Now, the issue with the National Ads Council is anecdotal evidence is not data.
Yeah. Yeah, but anecdotal evidence is why people stay where they're at.
Yep.
Not national data, right? All right. So with this whole concept, it looks like me and Peter are on the same page here. Availability, reliability, not the same. Dennis, you have at that right there.
Yeah, no, I concur. There is a difference between availability and reliability. I would actually go one step further to say that reliability, I agree with your definition, but I'd like to expand it just a smidge. I feel like reliability is the combination of multiple components. So that would be your speed metric, that would be your availability metric, that would be a consistency metric to make up overall reliability. Because a network that has no availability of said 5G can't really claim to be the most reliable. And in this case, I'm taking shots at Verizon for a moment with their millimeter wave. Like if Verizon went on the marketing scheme saying they have the most reliable 5G network, and meanwhile 5G only comprised before C-band deployed like 0.0.
Okay, so there we go. That is
Yep.
a question of availability,
Yeah.
not reliability.
Although, I must say, with the millimeter wave, I have connected to it in Denver, walked around, and lost it in the middle of a speed test, which is a question of reliability when you still have the ultra wideband icon on your phone.
That's why I said,
so
in
is-
my opinion, that's why I'm saying, in my opinion, reliability is it's multiple components that comprise it. Like availability is also a part of that mathematical equation to equal what the reliability score is in my
Yeah,
eyes.
but here's the thing. It's becoming too complicated by definition. By definition, it is said here by this group. This is task completion. Reliability is task completion. Now, if the question is availability, that is measurable. How much of the time is this device with a T-Mobile SIM, with a Verizon SIM, with an AT&T SIM? How much of the time with this phone being on is in 5G? That would say, well, 59% of the time T-Mobile is in 5G. 29% of the time Verizon is in 5G. There is a metric there. Now we get to task completion. Out of 100 tries, how many of the tasks while connected to 5G were completed? Reliability would be 100% of the time, 99% of the time, 95% of the time. The task completed while connected to 5G. If it does not stay on 5G, then the question becomes, do we even count that because it didn't start and finish in 5G? That's something totally different. That's availability. That is not a valid data set.
Right.
I'm letting you guys know, as someone who teaches the scientific process, that data cannot be collected because it does not start and it does not finish in 5G. Therefore, even if it completes the task quickly, it is not a valid piece of data.
No, I understand what you're saying. Like, I agree with your definition. I'm just saying, in my opinion. So what you're saying is not wrong. I'm just saying that, like, in my opinion, like when I think of the word reliability, I'm saying in my opinion, it comprises multiple factors. Like,
So,
do you understand what I'm trying to get at here, Sneed?
Yeah. So T-Mobile decided that they were going to just kind of like disengage. They weren't going to push back anymore. They said fine. And the first thing I thought, well, all right, so what's going to be their pivot if they're not going to be, pushing this whole concept of, most reliable 5G? Well, they can still hold on to the most available 5G. They could still do that because they have scaled their 5G ultra capacity pretty well. They're 215 million pops, maybe 220, possibly. They're getting there. The last we checked, I think last month they were at 210, 205, 210, something like that. So I think they can go that route. Maybe they could say nationwide fastest 5G.
on average.
Yeah. So like, I think there's things there that they can utilize as part of their advertising campaign.
Well, you think they
So,
can say fastest though, even though technically speaking, if we're talking about fastest, Verizon has the fastest 5G.
Yeah, but nationwide, like, remember they're scaling this through midband. So
they're scaling 41 quicker than both, and both the other two. And real quick, shout outs to Santiago Hernandez saying, with a $5 super chat, my main priority is reliability. 1 or 2 bars of coverage does me no good if I can't make a call, send a text, or use data reliably. That, Santiago, is why I cannot recommend AT&T in Boulder. You can get 4 bars of service on AT&T in Boulder, even the Los Blue one that was available, and still not be able to make a phone call.
So here's my thoughts on what T-Mobile should do from a marketing standpoint, and this won't get them in trouble, and I feel like it's an easy fix. The marketing should just say the most 5G available on any network or something like that. Like don't even get into speed, because if you get into speed, then you get into this whole argument of like, all right, but Verizon has millimeter wave or Verizon has C-band. I mean, to me, most 5G coverage, like that's a thing that's in T-Mobile's camp. They do have the most 5G coverage thanks to their low band deployment.
yeah, so I think there's pivots for them, like that they can really leverage in their advertising and their commercials and their, billboards. They do have capacity, right? So they can still continue to kind of drive that point home and continue to try to change the old perception that they have as they transition their network. The one thing that I thought about, when I thought about the conditions of the testing, for my personal use, I'm not exaggerating this, right? This is true. I've had the same energy for a long time. I don't care what G's are up on the display on my phone. I don't care if it's what 4Gs, 5Gs, 17Gs, 19Gs, chief. I don't care.
Ooh, 19G.
All I care about is the task completion. Now, what are the tasks that I'm doing? I do occasionally upload content while mobile. I watch
Yep.
video, high quality video playback. I listen to music. I call Pete. I call Dennis. I text Pete. I text Dennis. That stuff needs to happen without any issues. It needs to
Hey,
be completed within a reasonable time frame.
you missed something. You also communicate with Carlos.
And we call Carlos, right? So,
By the way, Orson Schwartz just in with a $15 super chat. Pizza was fantastic. Thanks again.
oh, you're welcome, man.
Hashtag AT&T AR squad. What the hell is an AR squad?
So Pete, so Sneed, I have an important question to ask here real quick.
Yeah,
you
man.
said task completion is the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it's an undisputed fact that if we were to take the task of calling as the example, that T-Mobile has the worst call quality out of the three major carriers.
I think okay, so if we take calling for example, the calling issue I think is okay, so like in my market, when I'm downtown, I don't have problems with calling. When I'm near the bakery, I don't have problems with calling. When I get into the suburbs where the tower grid is a little bit further away from each other, it's the handoffs that are problematic. So like even on the freeway, I had a problem talking to Nikki once. So like that seems to be more situational with market because take for example Pete, who's used in Longmont, for example, no issues whatsoever with calling ever. I talk to him all the time. Never do I have to repeat myself. Does he say, what did you say? No troubles, right? So they're doing something good there.
Heck, when it comes to calling, T-Mobile calling in Longmont, most of the time the issue is that I've encountered is someone on the other side is either on a really bad speakerphone or they're behind multiple PBX boards or they're doing international routing.
So then what we're saying for you, Dennis, is in all parts of Pittsburgh, is the calling problematic?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and it's not necessarily. So here's the thing I'm trying to get at here. If task completion is, can I place the call and connect to someone? I feel like all the carriers can do that. Now, if task completion is, can I maintain a call? I'm not even talking about moving from point A to point B like with handoffs.
I know
like
what you're saying, Dennis. Now I know what you mean. Your concern is the quality of that task completion.
Right.
Okay. So, real quick, our friend Zero Cool pointed out the issue with Pittsburgh with T-Mobile.
Is it that I have a monkey for an engineer running the system?
We're not supposed to say that one. Yes, but yeah, that's what was pointed out. The guy's a putz.
Ian Tech is saying that it could be band associated.
Yeah. Band
how's
12
that band 12,
is the
right?
worst. Caleb, what the hell are we going voice over NR? I want to stop having to anchor to 12. When I'm on band N41, I'm not connected to 12 because it won't aggregate to 12 and it sounds phenomenal. But when I'm able to aggregate to 12, it sounds like crap.
So, but going back to what I was saying though, so focusing back on that quality aspect, is that a whole different metric for you, Sneed?
Yeah.
Or it's a different. All right, because like in my opinion, and again, and I'm saying that it's my opinion, reliability on its own doesn't mean anything. Just because you can complete a task doesn't mean it's usable to me. Like call connecting, bravo, pat yourself on the back, I suppose. But if you sound like you're talking through a tin can and I can't understand you and you can't understand me, then is that really completing the task that I just set out?
Okay, so it's completing the task if the call is received and held for whatever the time frame is supposed to be.
Can
What
we
you're
do a
talking about is call quality. That would have to be a separate metric.
Can we
Okay.
do a caveat on tin can?
All right, sure. What's the caveat there?
To me, sometimes when I'm listening to people talk on speakerphone, it sounds like they're on the other side of the tunnel and they're performing adult activities with the phone.
But
And but I'll tell you, the moment they turn off the speakerphone, I can actually hear them.
But like, let's use another example real quick. Let's take texting for an example, okay? So it is a common known thing that on T-Mobile has problems with SMS texting. There's issues with duplicate messages, messages being delivered late, messages just not being delivered at all. And then don't even get me started on MMS group chat messages when it comes to T-Mobile and how that's handled.
I think I think we're still going on the problem with the fact your engineer needs to be replaced.
I think Pete's right, and I'm going to tell you guys why. There's a gentleman on Twitter. It's like Magic Yassine or something, but he's been following me for a while. He's a supporter of the channel, and he's a member of the community. Nice guy. Gives me tons of updates of what T-Mobile's doing in his market, and I'm not joking. In the last 2 weeks, he has tweeted at me the duplicate message like 3 times. Like it's coming the same way twice, 3 different occasions. So that means the tweets are hanging and then they're resending while he's trying to delete the old one and resend the new version. Right? So there's something.
That is called latency.
Oh, you think it's just through the roof?
Yeah, that sounds like what happens when you send something over TCP protocol. By the way, I do have a master's in TCP. When the lag threshold for the ingress server, say Twitter, is higher than the client threshold, you will encounter situations where the client goes, I didn't get a response, sends it out again, and the ingress server, Twitter, goes, oh, I'm getting multiple things in sequence.
Yeah, but the
Must be true. So I think with sending multiple messages with Twitter and some text messages, the latency's through the roof.
But the reason I bring that up is because if we go back to the reliability of task completion, right? The task of my message being sent to you was done, but you got multiple of it. Can we really call that a successful task completion? Or can we...
Well, okay, so it's a successful task completion because did it go from point A to point B successfully?
Yes.
Okay, so by definition, Dennis, I got to call a spade a spade. It completed the task. Now, can we create a category that says text messaging quality, right? Or text messaging reliability? I don't know if you want to distinguish it in a separate way, but like if the metric is task completion, we have to say yes, it did. If the question becomes I don't know, whatever you would want to name it, it would have to be different, right?
What I'm trying to highlight here with these examples, and this goes back to what I said in my eyes about how I feel about reliability, is that if we define reliability the way that you define it, or the way that this agency defined it, I should say, well, then every carrier is essentially going to have like 100% reliability,
which is what we want
by that definition. And what I'm trying to get at is that I don't think that definition is a good definition for what reliability should stand for. In my opinion, it's a combination of things.
Here's the thing. T-Mobile is running a 5G NSA network. We all know this.
Right.
Whatever the LTE network is doing is what their 5G network is doing. So for them to say that they have the most reliable 5G network would imply that they have the most reliable LTE network. Is that true?
No, I already agreed with you on that point. That's
exactly.
Not the point I'm fighting. That's not the point I'm fighting you on.
No, I know it's not. I know it's not. But and we're not fighting actually. We're kind of in agreement here. The parameters have to be set forth. Here is how these metrics are going to be measured. Here is the terms of this testing. The problem is that the data from Umlaut did not reflect 5G reliability. it reflected speed and availability.
Those are not reliability.
Exactly. So we have a problem with how to define reliability.
Hey, Sneed, I
Yes.
got a question for you. Aside from those messages that are not immediately followed by expletive deleted, son of a expletive deleted, T-Mobile is doing tower maintenance. Have you ever encountered me sending you a double message?
No.
Notice the caveat, because there were situations where they were updating the tower I was homing on to, and I was hitting either band 12 or 3G, and the lag went through the roof, so it did a double send.
Yeah, but see, that to me, Pete, that's unacceptable because if a tower is being up, I'm just gonna use an example real quick. If AT&T is doing an upgrade on a tower in my area, okay, there is literally 3 other cell sites that I can be connecting to that won't have that problem, and so me, the end user, never has that problem with my text messages not sending or the double texting occurring. And
by the way, that example only happened once.
Well, Pete, I think the only answer for you, the only thing that needs to happen is just like I went out to Longmont to experience the wonders of what T-Mobile can look like. You need to see the horrors of what T-Mobile can look like here in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
That's the only way we can do it, because I am not exaggerating when I say that in the grand scope of things, T-Mobile is messing up the fundamentals. Their data speeds have improved tremendously with ultra capacity, but they are failing at the basics of a mobile network.
So what you're getting at again is, with T-Mobile in the Pittsburgh area, is they need to replace the senior engineer.
T-Mobile has a lot more to do than just that.
Well, that's the first step to doing better.
That's like the fish rots from the head, head down. So
I mean, they need to do a lot, though. They need to get rid of any sites. If they still have the fact that they still have sites that have T1 back, also need to go. Like, I can't believe that's a thing that has to be said.
Oh man, you don't want to tell Keon about that. Don't get him started, man.
Oh,
wait,
you mean
does Keon live band 13 on a T1?
I'm just saying. I mean, you saw it on my Twitter, Steve. You hearted it, bro. Remember, it was like 80-90% packet loss or something like that.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Like, I can't make these test results up. Like, it is really that bad. It really truly is. I mean, I gave them props for doing backup power. I want to be clear. I'm proud of them for doing backup power, but that was a small step. They still have bigger fish to fry. But anywho, I'm sorry. Anyway, so we agree. T-Mobile should have been marketing this. I think we've all reached consensus. What's the next topic that you wanted to touch on, Sneed?
Dish, bro.
By the way, real quick, Ian Tech, the hype in Longmont with N41 is the fact it covers like 80% of the city.
Nice.
It's good. It's good in Longmont. Although, Pete, you do know you have a packet loss issue in Longmont, right?
I've not encountered that. That must be your iPhone.
No, it was when we were testing the home internet product at Stetson's house.
Oh, come on, Pete! You had to take a stab at the iPhone on that one, man.
Hey, Pete! It was when we were testing the Nokia trash can, the home internet.
Okay, so the packet loss is the trash can.
Yeah, that thing's junk, bro.
That thing belongs in the trash can.
Yeah, that thing. I mean, I don't know if it's firmware. I don't know if it's hardware. I have no clue, but that thing is a nightmare.
It's firmware, hardware, and software. It's the trifecta.
Is this real life? Is this true, Pete? You rode on the Arrow?
East on the interstate. Are you talking like, then you go east on the interstate? Are you talking 70 or I-25?
How far out is that, Pete?
The Arrow...
is that like once you leave the county?
No. I jump on that about 70, yeah. I jump on that about 30 miles from the state line with Kansas. And
on 70, yep.
Yep. But It actually running. Viero is a big regional in southeast Colorado as well. Although I must say, I did roam on to their 4G in southeast Colorado, and faster than the 4G I was getting in my home market, so I'm not one to complain.
Well, hey, let's get into Dish. I know you've been super optimistic about them, Sneed, and I'm sure that this news is probably well welcome to your ears. So let's get into it.
All right, Pete, you're gonna like this.
They're having issues connecting to 911.
This is facts. Charlie Ergen stated in one of the one of the media conferences, investor conferences. He said, apparently this 911 thing is a lot harder to do than we thought.
Wait, what?
This networking thing essentially is harder than we thought.
911 is so easy. You pay AT&T or their subsidiary to connect to the local 911 junction.
You know, real fun facts, Sneed. I've been watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares and Hell's, Back to Hell and Back on 24 Hours or whatever from Gordon Ramsay's like shows. And whenever Charlie came on and said, like, yeah, this is harder to do than I thought, it made me think of every one of those restaurant owners that like failed at the business. Like,
yeah.
But anyway, go on. So continue with the story. So the news.
All right, look. So here's the thing. They've got Vegas about to drop, right? Beta testers are about to get their hands on these SIMs. They have an official, like legitimate June launch for 20 plus metro markets, including the CLE.
Lois, don't call 911 in Vegas.
Right. Vegas is on there. Yeah, Vegas is on there. Actually, I should see if I could pull up the list here.
Ohio's on there.
Well, yeah, they got multiple cities in Ohio. They got Columbus, Cleveland, and I think there's a third city in that top 25. But
does it have the Browns?
Yeah, Cleveland's covered, dog.
What about the Bears? Are the Bears covered?
I don't know, man. I gotta see if Chicago's in there, but
you know who's absent?
Colorado?
No. Sneed, can you guess who's absent?
LA?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, man.
Pittsburgh's absent. And the reason why I bring that up is because if you remember, you and Carlos were both talking about how Dish was supposed to be deploying in my market.
Well, I can't prove that they were deploying in your market. I never saw their gear going up.
Well, I remember you making a comment about it.
Me?
Yeah.
About Pittsburgh?
Yeah. It was like, I think it was on the show when we were talking about the how AT&T was going to get to utilize some of Dish's spectrum. It was like maybe about 6 months ago.
Oh, they have licenses in Pittsburgh. They have 600, 700. They have like 3 types of AWS.
Yeah.
And I think they have CBRS too. But
yeah, you were saying, and then Carlos was telling me, but nah, Pittsburgh's absent on the list.
Yeah,
who is it? Was it saying Pittsburgh is going to be in winter?
We'll see. I haven't seen any of their stuff go up.
Now, look, you guys are my boys, man. I never disrespect my boys. All right, from the womb to the tomb, we keep it real, bro. Same energy all the time, right? But you guys are going to have to start eating crow as soon as these markets go live.
Me?
Everybody.
In what regard?
Everybody's going to have to eat crow because...
I will be so freaking happy to eat crow on this.
I know a lot of people have been down on Dish. They're like, I'll believe it when I see it. I get it. But they have to, or Charlie's giving up his money. He's going to eat up fines. He doesn't want to eat up fines.
Yeah, that's the only reason why he agreed to do wireless deployment.
Exactly. If it wasn't for the FCC finally getting some teeth and getting a backbone, having a spinal for once.
But by the way, the NTIA and the FCC were cracking up. The ones I know were cracking up when they finally got Dish to agree to deploy some spectrum.
Well, here's what I noticed. If you guys are watching this, here's what you're seeing. They get a deal with AT&T.
And a new deal with T-Mobile.
And then they get a new deal with T-Mobile, and then they start announcing markets. Do you guys see what I'm seeing? Things are coming together for the company in terms of the execution.
Now all they have to do is figure out how to get 911.
Now they just need the 911. Exactly.
I mean, I think it's an easy fix. You ready for it?
Delay until you figure it out.
Just have all your calls go over your roaming partner, AT&T. They already have the calling down packed.
Or T-Mobile, based on the market and whichever one's cheaper there.
I mean, dude, T-Mobile's had more cases of having to pay fines for 911 calls failing than AT&T.
Well, you see, this way, if they have two carrier fallback for 911, they won't be eating fines for failure to get a 911 call.
You know, I don't know how feasible it is. Zero Cool commented on one of your videos that you posted. I think it was actually one of your shorts, even Sneed. But I would love it if Dish could figure out a way to basically pull a Project Fi and essentially combine AT&T and T-Mobile's coverage.
Then they'd big shout out. This is the third super chat, third or fourth. From Blind Tech Adventures, $5. Can't believe the Bay Area, Silicon Valley is missing.
I'll tell you why. NIMBYs, exactly. Red tape, bro.
By the way, thank you for your generosity.
Yeah, thanks, Nimmer. The problem is things are difficult in certain cities and municipalities. These people just get in the way.
You're not going to find...
Charlie wants to go places and just put up gear.
You're not going to find Dish network coverage in White Plains, New York, unless they beam it across the sound.
Yeah, they're going to have to beam it like Neville's going to do to frickin' Planet Zorb, bro.
Hey, that's the only way you get T-Mobile and AT&T and Verizon in White Plains.
You're lucky to get it, man.
Yeah, you get... Well, it's near the water, so the RF bounces off the water, but you get better service at night due to the lake effect. Real quick, MS with a $2.71 super chat. Do you think Charlie will at least ban 71 to T-Mobile for cash? I think you have too many numbers.
Not after that fiasco that happened just a year ago.
Well, it depends. Are they going to be paying fines if they can't figure out how to do 911 connectivity?
See, this is why we bring Pete on the show, man. So this is important. The situation with T-Mobile today, much better than a year ago. It looks like we have some kind of an agreement with T-Mobile and Dish in which this is what I believe. I think Dish has a situation now with T-Mobile that they've got an agreement with phones, getting people off of 3G devices, the Boost Mobile situation. I think there's going to be a Spectrum agreement extension. I think there is going to be tower site agreements and infrastructure sharing between them. Personally.
Why do you think they're going to be so buddy-buddy after the whole year of everything that happened?
I'll tell you why. Charlie is a man of principle. If you make a deal with him, he has no options but to follow through. Like, a deal's a deal. Where Charlie earns his reputation as being slippery on the sly is when you give him open-ended ways to maneuver. He will finesse what he can finesse. If the terms are spelled out very explicitly, he won't do anything, can't do anything. It's when things are open-ended, like, say, for example, why he fought CDMA shutdown. Because it said up to 3 years.
And he reads up to 3 years, and he goes, well, monkey tail. 3 years I got this. I don't have to worry about the people having to upgrade for that one.
Yeah. So
yeah, but I meant I'm not just talking about what Charlie does. I'm talking about what T-Mobile did to Charlie. Like the Metro PCS deal that was going on, the text messages that T-Mobile were sending to steal his customers.
Okay, so you tell me this, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that T-Mobile takes him seriously now? Because I do.
I mean, what would have gave the change of heart? Like, what would have given T-Mobile the change of heart?
He went and got the AT&T deal. They were like, "Oh, this guy's serious."
We cannot take his government structured partnership for granted. Better.
They literally lost two. Bro, have you seen the T-Mobile stocks since they lost the Dish deal?
It went down.
It went from $150 to $119
Hey, I bought some stock up for that.
on the dip.
Yeah.
Nice.
They don't give out dividends, but
I think I got it even less. I think I bought it at like 100.
Hey,
that's
my
pretty
point
good.
is, it gives me the right to complain.
What are they at today, anyways?
They're at 125.46 at the moment.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, they were down for a minute, so they're back. All right.
And that's considering the whole
Verizon-
market went to hell. So
Yeah, that actually.
And that's why Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile allowing people to call Ukraine.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, man. An infrastructure sharing agreement with any carriers, whether it's between two of them or whatever, that is music to my ears. Do you know that the people who benefit from network sharing agreements, it's not really about the carriers to me.
it's
About the customers. Exactly. Yeah.
And well, I mean, you've heard me say this before, but if I had my way, socialist Dennis would have the carriers basically share all their infrastructure, so we eliminate redundancies and inefficiencies. But
So
everybody was clamoring for socialist dentist. He has arrived.
but
real quick,
yeah.
That was brought up by the Secretary of Commerce under the former administration, and he got laughed out of the room.
Of course, because here's the thing about the carriers. Zero Cool chimes in. Dish, AT&T, and T-Mobile all on the same SIM. It would be legendary. Here's the thing about the American smartphone carriers, the mobile network operators. They distinguish themselves by saying our network is different than theirs. Our network is bigger than theirs. Our network is better than theirs. If they start sharing infrastructure, there's now no other way for them to distinguish each other except in prices and features. And Pete, we have talked about this years ago.
That was
We
one
want
of the
it that way.
first podcast I ever was on.
Well, hold up. It's prices, features, and God forbid I say the swear word, customer service.
Oh, don't you do that, Dental.
No, don't you do that.
Oh, Lord. Imagine having to actually treat customers like people instead of
Yes,
fucking
sir.
idiots.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Imagine calling up a carrier support number not getting disconnected after being put on hold for an hour and a half.
I mean, hold on. Can I... Not to take too much of a side tangent, but I'm just going to bring it up real quick. Someone earlier was asking if everybody got their Galaxy S22 Ultras. I got my Galaxy S22 from AT&T like very early. Got mine from Samsung a few days early. Guess where T-Mobile's Galaxy S22 Ultra is right now?
UPS guy.
No, not even that. Being processed. It keeps getting pushed out further and further. And I called them up, spoke with a supervisor, explained my situation. TLDR is they're basically like, yeah, it got put on back order. And I'm like, it wasn't on back order when I ordered it. It wasn't the 2 months out that you're telling me is not what I got an email from your company. And I basically got told there's nothing they can do. They wouldn't even give me a credit because they said that's like not on us. But your website is the thing that told me an expected time frame. Like if I knew it was on back order, I would have got a different color or a different variant, or maybe not placed the order. But instead, I'm in a situation now where I'm waiting literally 3 to 4 months out to get the phone. And I even tried talking, like doing reasonable things like, hey, if I find one in store, can I just get it from the store and you guys honor the promotion or something? Can't even do that. Right? If you talk to any other company that actually had good customer service, there'd usually be an alternative, some creative thinking. Maybe you talk to the warehouse person. Nope, not with T-Mobile.
I'd complain to cats, but I'm in a different situation.
What's up?
I'd complain to Katz, the head of the business department.
Well, Pete, maybe we need to talk behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, bro.
Because I could use your, for once, I would like it if you could help me out, because right now, the way it's looking, I won't get my phone until fucking June.
Do you have a business plan with them?
Nope.
Can't help you with that avenue. So the VP of business and government does go out of his way to make sure his business partners are happy.
I mean, I've been with them since 2013. I mean, look, say what you will about companies like AT&T, because I know a lot of people out there have had bad experience with AT&T, but I'm aware, Pete.
Pete, flag him down.
I'm aware, Pete, but AT&T, at least when you talk to someone, they're willing to give out credits. Like, I'll give an example real quick. AT&T tried charging me an upgrade fee for my dad's line. Got that waived. They did this whole tomfoolery with proration, which I wasn't informed about, because apparently when you finance a phone, it like changes your plan. Yeah, they credit that as well. They credited that as well, and they gave me an additional $30 on top of all those credits as a basically as a courtesy to me for not being fully transparent with what occurred with my billing. So net result, I end up getting $240 in the form of credits.
Hey, Sneed, I got a question for you, though.
Yeah, boy.
What happened to Austin?
I don't know, dude. I sent him the link. He asked me if I sent the link. I said yes. I don't know.
Where'd you send it over?
I
Email,
sent it to
Twitter?
DMs, man.
Austin, check your Twitters.
Yeah, dude. I don't. Come on, man.
It's in your Twitters.
You know, my favorite part is that T-Mobile always asks me if I'm going to recommend them. And I tell the reps, like, because I don't want to get the reps in trouble, I always give them the 10s and stuff because, like, I know it affects their job and stuff. But, like, if they want to know the God for honest truth, T-Mobile over the years has constantly went down and down and down in my, like, recommendations list. Like, the only thing that T-Mobile's got going for them, and I mean this sincerely, is their plan. Like, the actual, like, Magenta MAX plan. And, like, maybe the free line deal. But outside of that, I can't give any recommendations. Like, every time I wanted to take advantage of a promo with them, there's always been a phone call that follows up afterwards. And Sneed, you know what I always say, right? The best customer service is when I don't have to talk to customer service.
But that's unrealistic and that's unfair because it just doesn't work out that way. That's the perfect world, Dennis.
Hey, the only time I talk to customer service is when I'm activating an eSIM.
I'm just saying that, like, if I go to take advantage of a promotion, right? And I do it and I want to do it online, there shouldn't be a reason for me to need to call customer service to get the promotion fulfilled or whatever it is. Like, I feel like every time I want to take advantage of something with T-Mobile, it's always, is it true? How much time am I going to have to be involved? And am I actually going to get it in the end? Because sometimes I'll do it, follow the things, and still not get it honored. I mean, remember my big rant when I was trying to take advantage of that free line deal and it ended up being where I got into the whole debacle where I lost OnePlus and I just accepted that I need to move to Magenta MAX at this point for it to make sense. Do you remember that whole debacle? It was a big, long rant, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that a satisfactory resolution? Well, not really. Did it work out? I mean, yes, thanks to a certain someone from the community giving me an insider discount. Now things are good. But if I didn't know that person in the community and I was just your everyday Joe Blow, I would have been royally screwed. So that's all I'm getting at is, like, to me, T-Mobile's customer service is not what it used to be. I'm not saying...
You got Big John in the house. Welcome to the show, John.
I'm not saying they need to be God's best thing on the green earth, but I feel like no one at T-Mobile has the power or the authority to resolve problems. Like, I've never seen a credit even reach the $50 mark from T-Mobile, and AT&T's over here dropping 200 plus in credits.
I guess we're different people.
We got A-Town in the house. We got Running Flame in the house. Welcome, gents.
Thanks for the invite. So, Dennis,
man.
You sent that love letter to Callie Field yet?
No, is she the one that said that? Was she the one that said that customers prefer international overseas representatives? Was that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Wait, what?
So T-Mobile hired someone. I think she's like the director of their customer service team that essentially said that customers prefer outsourced representatives.
Yeah, she really said that.
She didn't get fired the next week?
No.
Nah, she had a bunch of T-Mobile employees on their subreddit complaining about her in the open.
Man, I'd just give her pink slip and look for new talent.
And I want to keep the same energy. All telecom companies don't have great customer service. I'm just saying T-Mobile always impresses me in the ways that they can't resolve my problems.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I'm beyond impressed how far and how well you deal with AT&T. Because with all your gripes with T-Mobile, that's the same treatment I get when I call AT&T for someone else's line, or worse.
Yeah, but the problem is, Pete, is even though AT&T makes me feel like I'm pulling my own teeth out, in the end, the problem does get resolved in a satisfactory manner. Like, that's the difference.
To me, the difference is when you call AT&T and get customer service, you actually get a person. I get, your call's important to us for an hour, and then my line cuts off.
Well, you know, I don't think this. I mean, I think this is true. I'm pretty sure AT&T has like a system in place where like customers that have been with them for X amount of time get like ranked higher. I think they have something like that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, remember, my dad, for all intents and purposes, has been with AT&T since AT&T was AT&T. I think like 1980 something was when he started being a cell phone customer with them.
Yeah, so your dad gets the special treatment. I call someone on AT&T for someone on their phone. It's quicker for me to figure out what's going on. Or if it's a bill issue that they want me to talk over with them, we give up when it's cheaper for them to just eat the billing issue than pay me to sit on hold.
Yeah. So
AT&T's billing is always going to be, it's never going to change from what it is. But understanding it, like, you got to understand that when you do an upgrade, someone had to have changed your plan or moved the plan, maybe moved it to the new version of the plan for you to have any sort of proration. It doesn't just happen unless it's a legitimate billing error.
I mean, my plan didn't change. I'm still on Elite. Like, my plan did not change. To the best of my knowledge, my plan did not change. It was just me upgrading the phone for my father.
Yeah, AT&T, at least back in their SBC days, I had no issues with them. I've not dealt with them enough lately, but I have noticed T-Mobile go downhill precipitously. I'm right with Pete. You call in about a home internet issue, you're getting, your business is important to us every minute or every third minute for 45 minutes or an hour before you get through to anyone.
Well, Pete was saying that about AT&T, not T-Mobile.
That's AT&T Global Fraud Management. Ask Carlos.
Hey, look, I'm going to say something that's going to make Sneed angry, but this will really run the point home. I look at T-Mobile's customer service like he looks at Cox.
Are you kidding me, bro? No way. No
It's all
way.
about how you navigate it. If you can navigate customer service correctly and you learn it, it's not as bad as you think it might be. But if you're just asking an automated system, I need help with my bill because it's too high. Well, it doesn't know how to handle that, and that's
it's
why
not about. It's not about. Listen, I don't have a problem getting a person. That's not the problem I have when contacting T-Mobile. It's that when I get
a problem I have contacting AT&T.
I don't have that problem with AT&T, but. Listen, the problem isn't routing the system or getting a hold of a person. It's once I get a hold of the person, what are they willing to do? And the answer is either they're not willing to do anything or they can't do anything. Like, I'll use an example. When we had the data breach earlier last year, right? I think I tweeted about it too. T-Mobile gave me a whopping $25 credit for the inconvenience of leaking my social and information and stuff like that. That was my round of applause, right? Whopping $25. I actually brought that up when I talked to the previous person. She said, and this is the supervisor I was talking to, and her response was, "We gave that to you in addition to the McAfee protection." Whoop de frickin' do! Like,
oh man,
that's so impressive. Great job, T-Mobile. $25. Meanwhile, people like Pete, because he knows the right person. Or something.
I must say one thing with that breach thing.
Go ahead.
I was caught up in the most recent Equifax breach, and they did not only got all my information associated on my T-Mobile account, but the information I had on my Verizon account and all my license plates.
What?
Have you ever looked into what credit card companies store on you?
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, so you ask me why, I'm like whatever if there's a breach at T-Mobile. It's because nothing they can take at T-Mobile will hit anything that they took that Equifax had on me.
That was everything, huh?
Pete, you're not wrong.
Equifax had on me every house I lived in going back to when I was 16.
Damn.
Pete,
T-Mobile only had 3 addresses in that set.
Because that was like the most recent 5 years or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete, you're not wrong. The point is that if you remember from back when I had that call, when I talked to a rep about changing my PIN, because at this time you still had to call in a rep to actually get your PIN changed on your account, they were not trained reps. They were not aware of the issue of the data breach. It was the whole nonsense about like, this isn't real, but we'll give you like a courtesy credit about $25. I'm saying like the whole shebang. Like I'm not saying the people are bad. I'm not trying to blame the frontline worker because that's not really their fault. That probably
I got my PIN changed day 1.
I'm just saying that every time I talk to T-Mobile, my problems never get resolved in a meaningful way. It's usually me just being like, I guess I'll just accept it. Like, I guess this is whatever. I guess this is where I'm going. You're the only person I talk to, Pete, who gets resolutions that are comparable to what I get with AT&T with T-Mobile.
Well,
I want to call out John's comment there. Everyone should freeze their credit reports. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I got my credit card info stolen from a friggin' Jason Deli one time, and they didn't tell me for months. So you want to do that and just unfreeze it when you need to, because more likely than not, there's some sort of data breach that's going to affect you if it hasn't already.
And what is the best way to go about freezing your credit? Just go to Experian, Equifax,
and TransUnion. Yeah, they all for free have to allow you to freeze your credit. It doesn't cost money. There's a free option.
You have to freeze all 3 separately?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Wait. No. The Consumer Protection Agency, at least I remember under Obama, had the option where you could fill out a form on their site and they would freeze it for you, and you get an email from all 3 validating the fact it froze. But I don't know if they still do that.
You can't do that. You have to do it individually, Pete. And the reason why you do it individually as well is because if you want to unfreeze it, like unpause it, so you do want to get your credit ran for like a house purchase or something, you're going to need the individual logins that you have to create whenever you go through the process of freezing your credit. You get a PIN and stuff assigned and stuff like that.
Yeah, good stuff. Good information. Thank you for sharing, gents. It's excellent. I mean, this is a consumer-based channel, a consumer-based community. It's good stuff to know. Yep. Carlos
Sneed, fun fact, it wasn't that long ago they used to charge you money to freeze your credit, believe it or not.
Yep.
And then Socialist Dennis wrote an email to Obama and changed it?
Yes, Socialist God Dennis came to power and made it so that they'd stop charging people to freeze their credit. You got it right.
No. I wrote a letter to my senator.
Yeah, there you
go. And that happened.
See, and this is the thing. Like, as hacking becomes mainstream, like it's common. It's like, what do we have as protections? People need to be aware, and they need to know what things are available to them, what tools and strategies and techniques they can use.
I must say, though, I still trust the IRS with my stuff more than I trust the 3 credit agencies.
You ain't lying, bro.
The IRS is running off a 1980s tech. If they figured out how to get that connected directly to the internet, I'm impressed.
Shit. So
Hey,
is
that's
AT&T's running off ancient tech too. I mean, if they can make it work, I don't see why.
I mean,
anybody else can.
honestly, maybe not having it connect to the internet would be better knowing the IRS.
I mean, that's really anything of importance. You want to
yeah,
have that about 3 or 4 layers back.
yeah. Everything in the IRS is done on one media, paper.
And 5.5-inch floppies.
But we really took a dive. Sneed, let's
You
get
remember
the,
those 8-inch floppies?
Sneed, let's get
Sorry,
the
go on, Dennis.
let's get the podcast back on track. So we talked about Dish. Why don't we try to touch on one last quick thing, because I think it's newsworthy. How about AT&T with C-band deployment in 10 new markets?
Okay, I will do that once we put a bow on the Dish.
Okay.
We got one last thing about Dish. All right, so there was a tweet that was pushed out. I think PA Tech DM'd the group, and then I saw it like Sasha C-band and Mike Dano and everybody, right? Like everybody was putting out the same picture. It was a speed test of Dish. It was, and don't quote me on this, I'm giving you guys the rough numbers. It was about 250 megabits per second down. It was about 55 megabits up. It was a ping latency of like 55 milliseconds. And there was like single digit jitter, but it definitely was like not over 10, but over 5 or something. All right. Now, let me make something very, very clear. I'm a man of keeping the same energy. I don't want to hear people telling me that Dish is a failure because their pre-launch speed test has a bad latency and only 250 down and only 55 up.
Wait. What was the latency again?
It was like 55 milliseconds.
You said PA Tech tweeted this? I'm trying to look at the tweet.
Yeah, he tweeted it. I think Mike Dano had an image of it. Like, it was everywhere, right?
Wait, 250 milliseconds latency?
No.
Like
250
milliseconds.
down, 30 up, 55 millisecond latency, 7 millisecond jitter.
Oh,
Can we get a
so...
link to it?
Hold up. That is so... They're effectively, in a lot of places, NVMO. That is about what you get with give or take 100 down on C-band visible with much better latency. I'm okay with that.
Here's the thing. You got to keep the same energy. And here's why. Literally, there are carriers that have had 5G live for 2 years that get this performance. These guys aren't even officially launched, and you have people saying this is a failure. That is absolutely unfair, unrealistic, and hypocritical. Because I remember when me and Pete were evaluating the T-Mobile 5G launch, we said this is going to need time.
Yeah, it's still, and in some places, 5G in general is still in the oven.
This is something I don't understand about people and how they like to twist narratives and then say things like, I'm objective. Yeah, sure. You're objective. That's why you got an axe to grind, or you got a personal vendetta, or you got a strange affinity for some other carrier, but you're unwilling to say, well, okay, this is pre-release, pre-launch, it's not a finished product. Let's be truly objective about this and say, wow, okay, they actually do have a network. That's being objective, not saying, oh, this is trash, they're a failure, and they still haven't officially launched, right?
Hey, Sneed, real quick. Shout out to John, fellow Pixel user, for his $2 super chat. Let's get them likes up, support quality content.
Hey, Sneed, I don't see the tweet on this. Is there anybody in the audience that can maybe share what Sneed's referring to so I can take a peek at it?
I got you.
It's on Mike D. Dono.
I'm going to say this right now regarding that connection and whatnot on Dish. If they were the company I was putting my eggs on, and that's how it stayed for the next year while I was getting connected, I wouldn't complain. Damn good starting point.
Okay, I think
Other
I found
than
it. 247
maybe the
down,
upload, I don't think that limits you.
Yeah, I think I found it. 247 down, 28 up with a 55 millisecond ping and 7 jitter. That's not bad.
Thanks, yeah, that's better than some Comcast plans.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. But I was going to say that's better than T-Mobile's 5G UC in a lot of circumstances.
Hey, much better than your performance today if you get a DOCSIS 4 router.
All right, Pete. Those scallops that Zero Cool must have sent you, man, I recommend throwing them out because make you say some funniness.
I like it. I like what Pete's saying.
Well, of course you do, man. I mean,
by
you want to talk about vendettas? You got a vendetta against cable.
By the way,
I got a problem with Cox Communications, bro.
I have a problem with Comcast too. I was so happy when my $700 collections fell off my credit report.
Well, Pete, PA Tech in a Space has told me that Comcast is actually raising speed tiers again. Blast is going to be 600 by 20 over here in the Northeast.
What would you do if your competitors were all doing 2 and 5 gigabit per second?
Well,
limit you to 35 megs a second up.
Apparently, they do nothing because AT&T changed the game and nobody else has done a damn thing.
Right.
Hey. If I felt like paying $250, I could get 10 gig symmetric.
Hey, let's call a spade, right? AT&T goes multi-gig. Fios goes multi-gig. Frickin' Altice goes multi-gig. Frickin' Frontier just went multi-gig.
With their fiber.
Frontier, dog.
Hey,
Frontier actually did it in
Stream, which our friend Troy Hicks is multi-gig symmetric.
Cable is going multi-gig. Wow,
so Sneed. There's 3 things I want to say real quick. 1, Frontier actually did it across their whole fiber footprint. That's more than Verizon did, which only has done it so far in New York. 2, is that
you're
talking about
scallops, Caleb.
You're talking about Altice Optimum doing this, but ignoring the fact that Comcast technically already offers a multi-gig speed tier.
Bro, they charge $300. Yeah.
I'm just saying they technically offer it.
All these other companies are selling it for $140.
Okay, price to performance.
And third, you can't discredit DOCSIS 4.0, man. You act like multi-gig isn't going to be a thing.
I cannot credit something that does not exist. Bro, are you into unicorns?
That's what I was saying.
Dennis is into unicorns, bro.
When DOCSIS 4.0 comes out, we'll stop using it as butts of jokes.
How about they all just switch to fiber instead, like they should have years ago?
Well, that seems to be what they're doing. DOCSIS is at risk of becoming a dead standard due to lack of adoption on the new ones.
That's right, brother. Thanks, Caleb. Appreciate it.
But I do want to say, I feel regardless of what technology you like, we are really just kind of spoiled for choice. If you enjoy technology in general, I've been geeking out like crazy lately. This is like when virtualization or GPU were coming up. You got all sorts of interesting stuff happening inside and outside of telecom right now.
Well, real talk. I have no problem with DOCSIS 4.0 other than the fact that it's just not out yet.
Yep. Well, Zachary threw out a comment real quick. He said even Mediacom said they're starting to deploy multi-gig via DOCSIS 3.1 high split in Iowa.
Shout out to Santiago Hernandez with the second super chat. I had some pasta with scallops the other day, but there's one problem. I still don't think T-Mobile will buy out Comcast.
See, Santiago, this is why you are a friend of the channel forever. All right? Seriously. Hey, hashtag scallops gang. We'll just start that new one.
Hey, I might be making that same dish in a cream sauce. maybe not cream sauce, butter sauce, and butter roux tomorrow.
Yeah, but did you hear what I said about Zach? Zach, he said Mediacom's doing a high split on DOCSIS 3.1 and deploying multi-gig via that. So,
is it multi-gig
what
down?
am I supposed to do? Start doing cartwheels, Dennis?
No, the point being is it's being deployed on existing DOCSIS 3.1 on
So,
Ethernet 4.0.
Is it multi-gig down or multi-gig up?
I don't know. Zachary's the one that posted it, but 3.1 technically has support for, if memory serves me, 10 gigabits worth of bandwidth on the download and 2 on the up.
Yep.
So in theory, it shouldn't be impractical. If they're doing a high split, they should at the very least be able to offer symmetrical speeds up to about a gig. And then after that, it's probably asymmetric. So like 2 gig down, 1 gig up, similar to what Google Fiber is doing.
Yep, that's it. All right, Dennis. Is there?
He said it's he said he thinks it'd be multi-gig down 500 to 1,000 on the upload. Zach commented. Sorry, go ahead, Sneed.
Scott, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about your statement, like the complete entirety of it. Did you know Frontier got bought out in some states? Who bought them? Because I remember Verizon sold to Frontier. So who did Frontier sell to?
Spirit.
Spirit?
Wait, no, that's the airline.
You're talking about the airline. No, but Frontier is owned by like investment companies essentially. But if I remember correctly, I think it's only their DSL footprint that they sold off, not their fiber territory.
It was their DSL.
Do you guys remember, like, literally the last few years, actually pretty much since Verizon sold it to them?
Zachary has the answer. They sold their Washington, Oregon stuff to Ziply.
Oh, yes. And Ziply's going multi-gig fiber, too.
Yep.
And they're selling it for $120.
So if we can all go fiber, why can't Spectrum rip and replace like AT&T can? Why can't Cox? Why can't Comcast? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, with these cable internet providers, it's just the last mile that's over the coaxial. The junction box that cable connects to is, after that, it's all fiber.
Cool. Run it to the house while you're at it, like AT&T.
Yeah, so we can get some good connections.
Exactly.
I mean, do you want to know the real answer? The real answer is that AT&T went to fiber because what they were using previously was DSL. There was no more life left in DSL. Literally, like it was a dead tech. It couldn't carry the.
Granted,
sure, ADSL is dead tech, but honestly, let's be honest, copper is dead tech too.
Granted, AT&T is so old they made that tech, so they milked it as far as they could.
Yeah, so like AT&T like skipped and went to fiber, but even then, the places that they deployed fiber in, at least initially, were all high profit areas. A lot of the places that they expanded later on was thanks to government funds, whereas cable companies already had
high profit areas.
Well, but they already had well-established infrastructure in place with coax and were able to keep milking the coax technology, so they didn't have a need to instantly go and rip and replace the fiber to the home, because coax can deliver broadband level speeds. It's not like DSL. It doesn't suffer from the same problems as DSL does.
VDSL 2 Plus can get some really good speeds.
It caps at 200. That's the max. That's the
200
max.
by 15. Now, mind you, I've seen some Comcast plans in the past 5 years that charged more and gave you less.
But I'm saying that's the speed limitation. That's with VDSL 2.
Yep.
Coax doesn't have that cap. Coax already can do 10 gig on the down and can do 2 gig up. This is not a hypothetical. This is like already can do. So that's the difference.
Now there is something I want to do. Since I do have guests on the show, I want to start first with Austin. Since this is kind of like, I think you've been on the show before, but it's been a while. So is there anything in particular you'd like to discuss? Any topics, any discussion points? You can bring it up now because we're kind of at the tail end of the show. but I do want to give you that opportunity if there is something specific that you want to discuss.
I didn't have anything specific. I think everybody, you and Carlos know. Just so you know, Dennis, authorized retail is not the devil. Okay. You can ask me and my team that. We are not the devil. In fact, we do very well out here. So I just had to say that because I know how you feel about.
Wait, what did I say about authorized retail?
So Austin is an angel.
Wait, Austin, refresh my memory. What did I specifically
on the last show? You were talking about how much you hated AT&T's authorized retail.
Yes, the retail stores. Yes.
Yeah, I can tell you, Austin, Dennis's experiences are shared by many, and they're not everybody's lucky to get personnel like yourself, Austin. It's just